Self-quarantining.
And a quarantine order.
Quarantined in their...
Held in quarantine.
Quarantine.
The quarantine in place.
Quarantine for the required 14 days.
Hey, what's up, people? This is me, JC, your friendly neighborhood Negro, welcoming you all back to Quarantine Talks. All right, and about a month ago, I came up with the idea to create dialogue between Black Americans and Black Brits. We have so much in common, guys, from the language that we speak, that being English, to being Black in colonized countries, and even the shared love of Black American pop culture. So today, I'm happy to bring to you guys the fruits of that labor, or labor, depending on your country code. That was a horrible excuse for a British accent. Anyway, and I have a very, 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 very special episode. It's the London Atlanta podcast connect with my girls Vic and Jas from Black Gals Living the Podcast. In an episode I'm dubbing Black Gals Quarantining, this is my first ever pod where I have other podcasters on, and the shit was fucking dope. All right, me, Vic, and Jas talk about everything from the differences in racism in both of our respective countries to the shared experiences in police brutality, our love for Lovecraft Country, mixed heritage dating. Side note, I despise the word interracial, so I'm borrowing that term from the Brits, and of course, mental health and the Black community. We compare and contrast how extremely fucked up and inept our country leaders are, Boris and Trump, and then a shocking, and I do mean shocking, turn of events. We even predict Trump getting COVID 2 weeks before it actually happened. Y'all, the ancestors heard us talking and was like, wait, hold our beer. Y'all, we really went deep and the convo got cut a little short because, Jas has responsibilities and kids and homework and stuff. But anyway, we are all in agreement that there will be a part 2 in the near future. So y'all stay tuned. And with that being said, it is my pleasure to present to you guys the first ever podcast cross-country intercontinental Black Gals Quarantining episode of Quarantine Talks. Right after this ad. Ha gotcha, bitch. Yeah, ladies, thank you so much for agreeing to do it and jumping on the call with me.
No worries. Honestly, thank you so much. Yeah.
So, okay.
We can't believe we're here with an American.
Yeah.
Am I like the first American guest?
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon so.
Yeah.
Well, y'all
Definitely.
are like my first podcast guest. I've not.
Oh, really?
I've never had any other podcaster on my show outside of me. So I was thinking about that. I was like, oh wow, this is gonna go, because usually it's like an interview kind of thing, but I'm like, this isn't really that. This is like what happens when podcasters meet each other. It's usually like a regular kind of conversation.
Oh my God, it's so true, because we've had a few podcasters on our show, and then it usually we interview people. Then when we have other podcasters on, but mainly it's because people we have on are our friends. Then it's just a level conversation. Just sounds like a blended convo. Yeah,
and I was just and I mean I wrote, me being the nerd for somewhat organization that I am, I wrote talking points, but it's just general things. It's not general questions.
Okay.
How do you like your job? No, it's not like that. It's more I don't know. I was just that's literally because I was listening. I found out about you ladies. I was kind of the message said, I was doing a search for popular Black podcasts in Britain. And there's this whole huge kind of enclave of Black podcasters. And I was like, whoa, there's a lot of, and I guess it's a lot, but it seems kind of small, but it's not, but it is, but it isn't. It's not here, but it's you guys are way more tight knit, I think I want to say.
Yeah, we're expanding. There's loads coming out. Yeah. I think it's because in America, For us, like here, the American podcasts were the ones we used to listen to. So like The Read was like everybody's podcast.
Right.
The Friend Zone was everybody, not Friend Zone, the Friend Zone podcast was everybody's podcast. But then we started getting our own. But the thing is with us in the UK, because the UK is so like, it still puts white people in the forefront. So it's so hard to find these podcasts. If you really want a black podcast, it's so hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the annoying thing. It's just really difficult to find people.
But I do agree that like over here, I feel like there's like a very limited amount of black podcasts that you'll probably find, if you know what I mean. So I get what you mean when you say it's big, but it's small. Like there's so many black podcasts out there, but if you was to search, you would probably immediately find maybe only about 10. Right. And then after that, you would have to really dig deep for the others.
Right.
Yeah, so it is a bit more difficult over here.
And there's I was listening. Do you guys know who Renee Richards is?
Renee Richards.
So she has a network called Broccoli Content, and
oh, Renee. Okay, yeah, I know her.
Oh wait, I said it wrong. I said it American.
No. Do you know when you say someone's full name, I'm just like, who's that? But then, to be fair, if you just said Renee, I probably would have been like, okay, I know her. But it was the last name that threw me off. I really don't know why.
But yeah, she has like, I really want to talk to her actually. But I was listening to TBB, I think, and she was up there and I listened to her interview. I was like, whoa, like she did the exact same thing I did. Like it's not, for her, it's just more so podcast, but for me, it's like everything. It's like video and it's like audio, and then I do like documentaries and stuff. So it's like, I was talking. Amazing. Yeah, thank you. I was talking to one of my mentors, and he was like, "You can do all things, but you still kind of need to focus and pick a lane, sort of, kind of, and kind of like build from this one step and then branch out. Because like trying to do all the things at once is very exhausting." It's very exhausting definitely. And a little mentally draining. So it's like I definitely am like shrinking in my pathway. And it's like, okay, I'm literally gonna be focused on my pod, and then I may focus on some of the stuff that was going on like in the news maybe like 2 or 3 months ago. In Seattle with the occupation and all of that stuff. I'll focus on those 2 things, and then like there's a couple other things I may be involved with as well, but like just definitely gonna like narrow the playing field a bit because it's so broad. Like I get like kind of lost in everything sometimes. So.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to do it all by yourself. That's a lot to take on.
I'm trying to get a team together.
Yeah.
Even then, it's just now gotten to the point where like I have enough of my own shit together to even make a team for. So it's like, it's that little exploration of like getting everything where it should be, getting the template for things the way they should be, and then being like, okay, here you go. Now everybody come help me. Let's build this thing. So yeah.
No, well, we're wishing you the best. I hope it goes well.
Yeah, sounds exciting.
No, too. So I guess I can bring us officially into the pod now. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Quarantine Talks. I have with me today Vic and Jas. They are the lovely ladies from y'all are beautiful, by the way, too.
Thank you.
Yeah. The lovely ladies from Black Girls Living, but I want y'all to introduce yourselves. Like, what do y'all do? Whoever wants to go first, go.
Oh my gosh!
She just put hers on mute, so this is
okay.
It's not going to be Vic. It's not. Victoria's like, nah.
Yeah, because I've muted myself.
Yeah,
I was pushing my laptop away because it makes the most annoying sound that I don't want to pick up. Sorry,
Vic said, I ain't even playing it, okay? Okay. All right. So I'm Jasmine. I'm 28 and I work in marketing, or I have a background in marketing. And we've been doing Black Girls Living for almost 2 years to the day. Next week will be 2 years to the day. Mm-hmm. It's a podcast about mental health and pop culture. We kind of talk about everything, really. Current affairs. We talk about the workplace, microaggressions in the workplace. What else? We even talk about Fenty Beauty. We think about everything, literally everything. More recently, we've had a conversation about Lovecraft's Country as well, which I know that you're interested in as well, JC. So, yeah, pretty much everything. And open the floor for Vic.
Vagina waxing.
Yeah, no, you summed it up perfectly.
The vagina waxing was my favorite. One of my favorite. I was like, oh, okay, we're going there. Okay, cool. Never mind. I'm sorry. I interrupted.
Yeah, I have nothing to add. Well, I'm Victoria Vic. I'm 26. That's it, really.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm like, wow, what do I want to? So y'all introduced me to something that I didn't know about, which was white chocolate. I had no idea I had no idea who this white man was. I think I may have seen one video once upon a time, and I was like, "Who the hell taught that white boy how to wine?" Like, okay, he's been around the blacks. That's really interesting. And so, like, no, I checked it out. I actually watched the video that was the interview. Shout out to Ben Hurst. He's actually, I like him a lot. He's one of my favorite people. I heard him on another podcast called Busy Being Black. I like the way he, thinks and stuff. But like looking at that, I was like, yo, he is visibly uncomfortable. Like, you ever seen a person that's like comfortable being around black people, but not actually like talking about the elephant in the room?
Yeah.
And
100%.
But my thing is, who sent you there? Why did you think, when you saw the email, and the email was, we are discussing Black Lives Matter, what did you think he could bring to the table? And what he thought he could bring to the table was the fact that he dances.
Yes.
Or wines.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not enough, I'm afraid, sir.
Well, like, the thing with white people is, like, you got to remember, too, especially with white men, like, the bar of entry is, like, at the ground. Like, you don't really have to do much. So I think he was like, oh, well, I'm white, and I can dance, and I'm around black people. I can talk about this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I lived in St. Lucia for 2 years. That's what he said. He lived in St. Lucia for 2 years. So I could definitely talk about all things black. Let's go. And then he got in the room and he saw like how intelligently everybody was speaking. And he was like, oh shit, I think I fucked up here.
Yeah.
But
that's exactly what Vic said. Vic said he should have excused himself immediately.
I would have had
it's
much
literally
more respect.
corona. I would have coughed, and I would have allowed everybody to have thought that I had coronavirus. Honestly, in that situation, I don't care.
Oh man! But can we talk about like the racism in the UK? Because you guys is like racism is there. I mean, like it's the world. Like anti-blackness is global, but like British racism is very
polite.
Yes. And like I can't say that I've ever experienced it because like especially my first time going to London, I'm black and American. I'm a novelty, so everybody's nice to me. But like
they're excited, yeah.
But like, what is it kind of like being like black in the UK? And like, what are the like? I feel like you guys experience more like microaggressions and stuff like that than more like overt racism, like it is here. Like, what is it like?
Literally what Jas said about us being polite. So when you're from Britain, it's like we are polite. Like we queue up. We say, we could be like an inch away from someone on the street. Literally not even an inch, 6 feet. Oh, sorry. Oh my God. Sorry. Didn't need to get in your way. We're so polite. Like even to the coronavirus, like now it's happened and people don't want to seem rude that they're standing too far away. Like we're just so ridiculously polite.
What?
Yeah, we are. We're just, but it's not even polite. It's just, I think we're just awkward, if I'm honest.
Okay.
Because my friend moved over to America. She moved over to New York, and she was just like, they get shit done. In the UK, we're just like nicey, nice. We'll throw the people's feelings, but when it comes to being a black person in the UK, you feel it. There's a difference. I know a lot of people love to say, "Oh, racism doesn't exist here," and in the
cradle of white civilization, in the cradle of white supremacy, white racism doesn't exist. Now, who would think that? Like, what?
Yeah.
No, go on, Jas.
No, I was going to say, like, if you, obviously, Twitter is not a representation of, the thoughts of everyone, don't get me wrong, but when you see Black Americans talk, they definitely do believe that Black Brits have it easy. That's the impression that I get. They think that, life is sweet, that the racism that we experience here isn't I guess, damaging, but we do suffer institutional racism. We still have those conversations where, you know, people are asking me, you're from, like, where are you really from? Where your parents from? They don't see you as British. They don't. Even if you're born here, even if your parents were born here, they don't see you as British. You always have to justify your presence in this country. And you'll be told, if you don't like it here, then leave.
Yeah. Even though this is where I'm from. I don't know. Because the thing is, I think that too, which some Americans think that way. But then I also think a lot of white people in the UK think that way, that racism doesn't exist. But the white people here, their reasoning is, well, you have a good job. Yeah. Well, your parents have a house. Well, you have a nice car. So it's like, you're succeeding more than white working class people in the UK. So what gives you the right to complain about racism? Surely you should be grateful for what you have. And it's like, I can be grateful. Or actually, no. I can be happy that I have this shit because I worked hard. And I could also acknowledge the racism, because I really believe in, like, talking about what we experience, because that's the only way we're going to archive and document what's going on. Right. Because that's why a lot of people don't know what's really going on. And as Jas says, the racism is so institutionalized. So, like, you experience racism. Like, I was thinking about it yesterday. Like, I've experienced racism at work. And because there's no other black people there, that's another thing. In the UK, there's a lot of offices where they're made to be, this is a liberal office. Oh my God, we're so woke and we're so, you know, forward thinking, but there's only one black person there. That is a common theme.
You're the one black at your job?
Oh no, not anymore. But like, I have worked in many places, and I know many people who are just the one singular black person working there in central London.
Yeah, and in London, that's inexcusable, because London, literally, the black population is mainly in London. So the fact that there's one person working in an office in London, it's wrong. There's no justifying it.
Right.
Like the racism is like, of course we get racism. Like, for example, you ask any black boy in the UK, and they will have been stopped and searched. Whether in a car, or whether they could just be walking down the street, whether they're in their uniform, they could be stopped and searched. Asked if they have any weapons on them. Asked if they have any drugs on them.
So you guys don't, they don't have like you over here. You're like, well, there was that really fucked up period in New York that just happened. But like over here, they at least kind of like have to have like a quote unquote reason to search, like probable cause. Oh,
the thing, they do have to have a reason, but of course they'll say anything. They'll just say, "Oh, I can smell weed." So,
or they'll say, "But you match the description that we've seen."
Yeah, exactly. Or there was a crime committed in the area and you match the description.
That's my favorite one. I've had that happen.
Yeah, so disgusting.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, that really happens here. And like when black guys have nice cars, immediately they're gonna get stopped by police. And
how did you afford this?
Yeah. We've had, and it's not, and as we all know, it's not a thing that disappears as if you do well in life. We've had athletes who have won gold medals for the UK stopped by the police, and it's just like, you literally they don't give a fuck at all. Sorry to swear, but yeah, the racism is just it's like you're literally treated different, and you can feel it. There was a place that I worked where I was literally treated so differently that the white people could see it. Some white people told me, they were like, "Nah, that this is actually messed up. Like, they hate you."
Wow.
Like the racism here, it's here. Like, it's evident. We all know it. Like, we can be shy and be polite about it. The thing is, one thing that I know that racism does exist here is when the Black Lives Matter and the outcry happened, a lot of people were receiving apologies from previous work colleagues saying, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry that happened," or "I'm sorry I didn't speak up," or I feel like I was racist to you, I feel like I touched your hair," or "I feel like I said an inappropriate word to you, so I'm so sorry." It exists, but they just think that they can get away with it because we are supposed to be grateful to be there.
And so, like, that was actually one of my later questions, but you brought it up, so we'll talk about it. Like, so me and one of my other friends, like, we were going backwards and forwards. We were talking about it, like, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, where, like, it was at the head. And, like, he has a friend who I will continue the statement as a friend because I'm not putting him out there. Actually, let me shut up. So he has a friend in Berlin, and she showed him like the protests. And it's like all of these protests popping up all over the world for like Black people here, which as a Black American, having lived in this country my entire life, and just like kind of like experiencing like I've experienced it twofold because I've traveled. So it's like on the one hand, like I was saying earlier, like I've been in a country where I am literally treated different for being Black and American versus another Black person that I'm standing beside that is of the country that I'm from, right? But I'm different. I'm a rarity. I'm a novelty. And so like here, like the same thing that I would be punished for intrinsically is the thing that I'm praised for somewhere else. Right. So it's literally a mindfuck because it's a paradigm shift. Like it's like overnight in the matter of a few thousand miles and a plane ride. It's a paradigm shift. And it's really kind of one of those things. And so it's like to have all of these people around the world like standing up for us. It's very encouraging. It's hopeful. Like I brought tears to my eyes a little bit. I was like, wow. But then on the other hand, I'm like, when I look at a country like, say, New Zealand or Australia, like Australia has a horrible history with the Aboriginal people that look just like you and me. So how does that, like, I guess the question is like, what's the climate? Like, how did that work? You know, because then there's white people on TV that are like, I'm not going to get into American issues when I live in a different country. And I'm like, no, it's not just an American issue. It's definitely a global thing. So, like, you know.
Do you know what? No, go on, Jas.
No, I was just going to say, I think what you said last is key. Like, it's a global issue. So, you know, what happened to George Floyd, it was awful. It was terrible. But police brutality, it happens all over the world. I mean, you can literally go on YouTube and search French police beating up Black people or something like that, and you would find probably hundreds of videos. Like, it is disgusting the way Black people are treated all over the world. And it's not only happening in America. And I think it was a shift. I think, funnily enough, going through coronavirus lockdown, it gave everyone the space and time to really come together and unify. I think if we were in a space where coronavirus didn't exist, don't get me wrong, I feel like there still would have been protests, but I don't think it would have had the same impact that it had because everybody had time on their hands, if you know what I mean. We could all come together. And I think, it was time to stand up. I mean, we saw what people in America were doing as well, you know, protesting for 83 days and still counting. Just because we don't see it, we know that it's still going on. And I think that kind of lit the fire underneath us as well. And just following on from what we said before about how racism in this country is a bit different, I want to say, it's not that they're calling us the N-word or anything like that.
They also are calling us that.
Yeah, they're calling us that.
She's like, no.
Like
they still do that.
They're calling. They're not necessarily. And this is sometimes. Don't get me wrong. People are still being called this word, but they might not say the N-word, but they will tell you that you are the N-word without saying.
So like a great example is the fact that we have a British dance group in the UK called Diversity.
Okay.
And they basically won Britain's Got Talent. I think there's America's Got Talent, right?
Right.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
So we got a British version, and they won this years ago. And the group is basically made up of Black men and men of mixed heritage. And then they came back on the show to kind of do, like, you know, when the winners come back to do a show performance. So they came back and they did a performance on Black Lives Matter and police brutality. And British citizens have reported it to they basically reported it to an organisation that look into TV complaints. And it's been reported, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Jas, 15,000 times?
It's even more than that. I think the last time I checked, it was like 25,000 times it's been reported, and bearing in mind, this is a record. So this advisory committee has said we've never received this many complaints about anything on TV ever.
So
I think the most complaints that they've had usually is probably around 1,500, 2,000 about anything. So this group, they've done a performance honouring or talking about Black Lives Matter, and it's received 25,000 complaints, probably more than that by now.
I think it's the biggest one in a decade, considering the second one that was meant to be the biggest was literally about a white woman who claimed that she was accidentally punched by another white man on this TV show, Big Brother. And we all saw the evidence. We were all upset about it. And then comparing that to diversity, where they just literally said Black Lives Matter, we have a problem because people are feeling upset by something ridiculously. I don't want to say Black Lives Matter is basic, but it's like it's a basic
concept.
Yeah, I don't think it's the most political thing I've heard in my life.
Yeah, it's such a basic concept that it's insane. And there's another thing, I don't know how far it reached. I don't know if it reached America, but there's another city called Bristol here, and they had a statue of a slave owner in.
They knocked it down and pushed it into the sea, didn't they?
Yeah, they put it into the river, and it caused mayhem. It caused absolute mayhem, and they started doing, and this is what I mean by British racism is polite. They started doing, you can't get rid of history. If you get rid of the statue, then you're going to forget about slavery or the evils of slavery. So, just
two things.
The same statue that they haven't cared about for years. They've never gone to see it. Right. They've never read the plaque. Right. But now, all of a sudden, they need that statue back up. They need to preserve all these statues of slave owners, apparently.
So
it's even like it's even how people talk about Meghan Markle.
Yeah.
And that is ridiculous because she is white person. I think she's even said it herself that she is actually white person. And, a lot of British people hate her guts. I don't know why. Like I've been around white people where they're like, yeah, my grandma hates Meghan Markle. I'm like, why? She is literally the most
unproblematic royal.
For reals. Literally, Jazz. So low key. Like if I was the queen, I'd be happy. I'd be like, this one's not going to cause us no drama. Oh, thank God, at least. The son is a pedo.
Yeah.
Which one?
Prince Andrew.
Andrew's a pedo. So how many are there? There's Harry.
Harry's not the son.
He's the grandchild.
Okay.
Yeah, Harry's the grandson.
Okay, so he's never going to see it.
But
I've had
Prince
this explained
Andrew
to me, but I'm
is the Queen's nephew.
Okay.
Sorry, what did you say?
No, I said I've had this explained to me, but like as a freestanding American, I struggle with the thought of monarchies and.
Don't worry, a lot of us don't know it. The only reason why we do know it is because a lot of us fucks with Princess Diana. Okay. So by nature, we kind of know a little bit of the structure. But trust me, a lot of Brits, even a lot of patriotic Brits, don't really care about the monarchy that much.
Yeah,
they don't. I still don't know why we have it.
It's like it's out of any. But wait. To get back to your point, it was two things. So about the basic concept of Black Lives Mattering. So like when I was in Seattle, like the really quick catch up. So there was protests, obviously. And then after 2 weeks of the police fucking up protesters, the mayor gave the order to the police chief to withdraw from the precinct. So they literally gave up the precinct, boarded it up, and then like ordinary people, like for 6 blocks in like a square, like put up like mutual aid. They gave tents to homeless people. There was medical aid. There was lawyers. It was just like, it was a beautiful thing to experience, be a part of and see. And so like one of the times that I was there, I was talking to this guy named Smiley, and he put it to me in a way that I had never actually like conceptualized. He said, when did you know that your life mattered? And I was like, I had to think about it for a second. I was like, I don't know, like when I don't know, like I've always known it. And he was like, okay, so now the way that you like know this in your heart and in your mind, he was like, you have to think about it like white people are just coming to terms with that, right? And I was like, whoa. Like, it really just kind of made me take a shift and step back. Because it's like, as Black people, we really don't, we get it, but we don't get it. But it was just that simple of a concept to be like, yo, they really are just now understanding that the background extras in their stories are more than background extras. Like, they're actually principled people with lives and stories and things of their own. And so it's like, when you're confronted with that statement of Black Lives Matter, it's not necessarily like, it's not, what am I trying to say? It's not necessarily like an insult per se, but it's like you kind of almost feel like guilt, maybe? Like white guilt takes like a whole different level of whatever. Yeah. You know? And I was like, And it just, like I said, it really just kind of made me like stop and think, like, I've always known that I matter. Like, I have a very high opinion of self. I love me some me. So it's just like to think that, you know, or even like just somebody passing on the street, like, I would feel bad if something happened to them, you know, no matter what color or whatever, you know, I would be like, oh, damn, that's fucked up. But like to think like there's people in the world that will literally just kind of like not even bat an eye. And then now, having realized that you wouldn't bat an eye, are trying to, you know, overcorrect and be like, you know, oh yeah, Black Lives Matter, and all this other performative shit is just like, it literally kind of like threw me for a loop. But that was just to speak to your point. It was just like, it is a basic concept, but it's an extremely complex concept to people that have never even played with the idea of the concept. It's just like, oh, wow.
And, you know, ultimately, I mean, using your example, we're not asking to now, you know, be center stage while everyone else is the background extra. We're just asking to also be center stage. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they feel like we're asking for them to be slaves.
I honestly think
that's what they think.
They do. They can't believe it. They're like, I feel like my life's going to be taken away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, all you blacks coming. It's like, literally, we just don't want you to be racist.
Yeah, that's...
And we want you to hire us.
When you're accustomed to privilege, equality seems like oppression. Like, I don't know who said that, but I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, ooh, damn. Like,
yeah.
deep.
But like in the UK,
I can't believe they're asking for rights.
Literally.
We let them over here. You have a house and a nice car. What more do you want? I don't know. To be
it's the same over here. It's exactly the same over here.
We've had cases of police brutality. There's a guy called Terrell Jones Burton. He died after he was stopped and searched. Then we have he was hospitalized. Sorry, I don't know what his condition is right now. And then we have Frederick DeCosta. He was also stopped and searched, and police put excessive force on him, and he also died in hospital, leaving behind his son. The thing is, we have cases of police brutality here where police use excess force, but oftentimes they're not. I'm not saying every single police brutality that goes viral is recorded, but here we don't really have many recorded, because what often happens is police body cams are ruined.
Not working.
Not working. And it's like, it wasn't working that time. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. And there's one case, sorry, Vic, there's one that was quite similar to George Floyd, actually. Tashan Charles, I think his name was. And he was in a shop running from the police. I think he ran into the shop and the police jumped on him and held him in a chokehold like this. And he ended up dying. And they tried to dispute the footage. I forgot what they tried to say. They tried to say it was actually citizens that jumped on top of Tashan and it wasn't the police. They didn't have any body cam footage, apparently.
Of course.
There was just so much mess about it, but the same old story that the police weren't at fault, basically. Even though they found nothing on him, it was the police, they didn't do anything wrong.
Because I remember reporting that when I was a news reporter, and you could clearly see the shop footage going viral. Yeah. So I brought this to, we have a police body, a watchdog that watches the police, and they were basically like, we can't really do anything about this. And I was like, are you actually having a laugh? Like, But yeah, it's really disheartening because it's like you feel powerless. But I know that many of these instances happen. Like, for example, after George Floyd, we actually had a similar one in the UK.
Yeah.
He didn't pass away, but it was a black man. This stupid officer was on his neck, like literally doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we're talking about within a week or two after George Floyd. So it just seems intentional. It's like almost like a ha-ha, like they're laughing in our faces. Yeah. Like, what can you do about this? You can't do anything.
Usually police officers get like a slap on the wrist here, suspended for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But that police officer after George Floyd, he was actually, I think his job was terminated.
Oh, wow. I was, Vic, you might know this. The last time I was there was last year, right around this time, like I want to say September. Yeah, I was there. And I had a chance to go to the BCA, which is not as big as it should be. But I guess knowing what I know about like London and British culture and all of those things, it's like, well, at least you guys got anything. Well, BCA, you guys, Black Cultural Archives. It's kind of like the British equivalent of the African American History Museum, sort of.
Is that massive? Is that massive, the African History
I haven't
Museum?
been, but it is.
I really want to go.
Because the British archive is tiny.
It's a 2-floor duplex kind of thing.
Comparisons to the museums we have in the UK, like the V&A, the History Museum with the one with the dinosaurs, they are outlandishly big compared to that little thing we have in Brixton.
And so, so 2 things popped out. It was one, someone told me, and this is where reporter expertise, it's sensational. They said that no police officer in the UK, or at least in Britain, has ever been formally charged in death or murder or any type of that's
what I was going to say, actually.
Yeah. So is that true? Is that still true?
Still true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No, all the cases that we've had, all of the suspect evidence, all of the, institutional racism, but no one has ever been charged with murder. They might be suspended, like Vic says, they might be suspended for a few weeks, but no one's ever been charged.
The government has to protect the police. The police are government here, basically. So they can't be seen as wrongdoers, if that makes sense. Because then that kind of lessens their power. This is what I think anyways. And it's sad because I feel like if we do have more examples of that, maybe these things wouldn't happen. But I don't know. It's really exciting.
Your culture is like, you guys' culture is so much, even in that, like, because it's fucked up on both sides. But like, if I had to choose, I would be Black British versus Black American when dealing with the police. But the other, because at least they don't have guns. But woo, those guns, boy. But the other thing that I found interesting was, and I tell people this all the time, is that like, so I don't know if it's still there, but on the top floor of the museum, they had a timeline from like when the very first like Black person set foot in the UK to like recently, like 2018. And I was just like, the thing that blew my mind was like, so Windrush happened in what, the 60s, 50s, 60s?
Yeah.
Okay. And so like, but even before that, like Black people were being sent to different parts of Europe and allowed to educate themselves at like Oxford or Cambridge, like the finest establishments and institutions. And it's like, one thing that really stood out to me is like, it said, I think it was either 1940 or 1950. There was like a Black theater trope or like a ballerina trope or something like that. They were putting on shows at the London Theater, right? And for y'all that don't know, the London Theater is kind of like the equivalent of Broadway. So while that's happening contemporarily, like at the same time, like, you know what I'm saying? Black people in America are being hung in the South, right? And I was like, that just absolutely blew my mind how like we can look the same and but experience is relative, because like on the one hand, on 5,000 miles away, Black people are being praised and they're allowed to display art inside of a prestige building, and then like on the other side, what I'm saying, Black people aren't even allowed to drink from the same water fountain as white people and face death if they do. And I was like, it still blows my mind to think about that. Like, but sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I think you're right. I think it's so complex, and I think a lot of British people or white British people love to say, "Well, we didn't have segregation here, so it's not that bad."
They did
to the same degree.
To the same degree,
we still literally said. Shops saying no dogs, no blacks, no Irish.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, but it was nowhere,
nowhere near the same.
Nowhere near to the same.
So I think a lot of people are just like, well, we didn't have that, so it didn't trickle down. And that is another reason why I feel like the race relations is just different. Like, in America than here. Like, because I remember I once worked for the company where we have an American division, and they were literally saying to their white boss, reparations. And we were like, we could never say that. We're too scared to say that. But rightly so, you know.
You talk about reparations all the time.
We felt scared because we were like, could we say that? But it's like, then it's that whole idea of we should feel guilt. We should feel
shame,
grateful.
Oh, grateful. Okay.
But at the same time, when these people are in these spaces, like the first black ballerina or the first black footballers, they're still experiencing racism. Like black footballers to this day still experience monkey chants, bananas being thrown at them, racial slurs in their inboxes because they didn't score a goal. It's crazy. To the point where a few have been sharing them, and people have been getting arrested. People have been getting arrested as small as, I think, 12 years old. I think that's where it was.
Wow.
And the thing is, a lot of people experienced racism back in the 50s, 60s, 40s. Probably feel a bit scared to even admit it or even talk about it. Because a lot of people are just like, okay, I'm the first one here. Let me just power through, get my children here, my family here. And now, in this kind of like the global outcry, a lot of people are feeling very confident to share what's really been happening.
Because I know you guys' culture is like super, like British culture as a whole is like super suppressive. Like you said, the constant need to be like apologetic and like deferential at all times. Like I literally pointed out to one of my friends the amount of times that he said sorry in an hour for nothing.
That's what I mean about us being polite. It's ridiculous.
I was like, dude, he bumped into you. Why are you apologizing? Like I don't. He's like, it's just the culture, man. It's the culture. And I was like, this is so.
But like even like what you said about like, Americans may see like, oh, British, like, we don't really rebel. It just feels kind of like easy, sneezy sort of thing. We've had riots. Like, remember, Jas, like we've had like the 1980s, we've had Brixton riots.
Right.
Again, we had another repeat. And that was from confrontation between police and the black community. Right. And then we've had, again, another riot was Mark Duggan in Brixton?
Yeah, that was 2011. That was in Tottenham. Well, it started in Tottenham and then it kind of spread across London.
Yeah.
But the police, they collected everyone. Afterwards, like, people were getting the maximum sentence that they could possibly get.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they cleaned up after the riots.
Oh, well, they're doing...
They essentially said, don't ever try that shit again.
They're doing it now. A lot of because the protests are so ongoing and it's making white people look bad, a lot of the governors and stuff are making like little things that were not even ever a crime, a felony, right? Like it's now a felony to like protest in the street type of situation. Like, and that could carry like 3 to 5 years, and high ass fines and fees and things like that. Like, so
they don't care about the Constitution now, do they?
And they've never done. All black people have ever wanted was for this country to honor what it say on the paper. Do the shit that you say on the paper. Like that's just, and that's the only, and I feel like where a lot of black people are, myself included, like I'm kind of like over protesting. Like, I don't want to do it anymore because it's like, you know, whenever things don't suit you, you change the rule and the goalpost to make sure that it does. So it's like, as one of my good friends, Blue says, call me when the shit get gangster. Because I'm like, I don't want to do it anymore. Like, it's disheartening to kind of like get a little bit of a breadcrumb and then you take away the whole goddamn loaf. And it's just like, you know, call me when it's Armageddon or something. A lot of us are ready for this bitch to burn to the ground. Like, completely.
Oh, absolutely.
Completely.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Completely, like, got our s'mores ready and everything. Just, like, waiting by the fire. Like, come on. All right, let's go. You know? So.
No, I don't blame you at all. It's so hard being Black, and, you know, we're not asking for too much. We're not asking for too much at all. And then you're basically told you are asking for too much.
Yeah, because even conversations post global outcry, I've had with some of my people, it feels like an attack. So
yeah. And then the goalposts, they do move. You're right. They'll do anything they can just for us to stop getting on their nerves. That's all it is.
It's really just annoying white people is just the thing. Them.
They're just swatting us away like we're flies. Like, oh, just shut up, get out of here.
It's like,
we don't want to give you your equal rights.
It's like, what do you need equal rights for? You're here.
Yeah,
we have. You're
exactly. not dead. You're in the United Kingdom.
Like. But it's that sense again of being grateful. So when we had Boris Johnson speak on the Black Lives Matter marches, he was talking about how, you know, yes, we should have equality, blah blah blah, no, we should treat it differently. And then he said something about the fact that we are getting more Black and Asian people in highest places more than ever. And I'm like, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. And also, it's the thing, I don't know if you guys have this in America, but it's like chucking in Asian people when we're talking about Black people. Yeah. And it's like, it's so disheartening because it's like...
us over here, it's a little more, way less nuanced. Because, I mean, even over here, like, we consider Asian people as people of, like, Korean, Chinese, or Japanese, or Vietnamese descent. We don't consider Indian people Asian people, even though they are technically from the Orient. So it's like, when I'm over there sometimes and they're like, oh, he's Asian, I'm expecting to see someone that's like, you know, Chinese, Japanese, whatever. And then, like, you know, Anish walks up and I'm like, he's Indian. He's not, wait, let me think about the way history works and the way,
So is it more like groups over there? Is it more like a people of color sort of situation? Or
there's Black people and then it's kind of like everybody else. But it's this weird, I'm not against people of color uniting for the equality and freedom of everyone. However, when we talk about this country, especially like Black people, Native people, hell, I'll say Native people, but even Black people, because at least Native people got land and casinos. But like Black people are owed a specific debt that was never, ever, ever repaid, right? And so it's like when the push is to kind of like group us all together, and I'm like, I mean, we're not the same though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because like, I don't care as an Asian person of any descent, you know, be you Indian, be you Chinese, be you Korean, like you do not fear getting pulled over by the police. Right? You do not have a sixth sense of what could happen if this, right? You are not viewed inherently as a threat. As a matter of fact, Asian people are viewed as the opposite. They're like the quote unquote minority, what is it called? The model minority, right? Where they integrate the best, right? So they're viewed the least threatening. So it's like to compare your experience to my experience is, I mean, we can do that, but if you're trying to put it in my face, it's like really offensive because you know, like, don't do that. Like, you know, and I know that we're different, and it's an obvious glaring difference. So there is that, but it's still like, I mean, Black people still are in the forefront, you know, for the most part, most of the time, as we should be, because it's like when it comes to this thing, like, it doesn't matter if even in London, like, you're going to get treated different as dark-skinned women than women of Asian descent or even women of mixed heritage or mixed whatever. Like, you're going to receive a different type of treatment. So it's like, anti-blackness is global. It's not just here. It's not just the UK. It's just the varying levels of degrees of difference. So.
No, I agree. I mean, what I meant was more the case of it's no even like nothing to do with Asian people or anything like that. It's like white people will be like, it's Black History Month, so now let's talk about Black and Asian people. So Zayn Malik, this is what Zayn Malik has done for Black History. Honestly, British University called Kent University had a picture of Zayn Malik for One Direction and Sadiq Khan, who is the mayor of London. Yeah, who is Sadiq? Sadiq is not black. Let's put it that way. And it's that kind of thing where they're just like, we're just going to group all of you lot right now. And it's so disingenuous because it's like, what if them man are celebrating Diwali, all those things there, and you're just being like, okay, actually, we need you right now to be in Black History Month.
So that is the
so
difference.
Offensive.
That is the difference in between us and y'all. See, you have that British politeness suppressive culture, whereas Americans, we like, no, Black history next month for the other people. We're not doing that. We're not, no. You know,
but the Asians don't want to do that either.
Oh, they don't?
They look at these people and it's like, what the hell are you doing? But what I will say is, I think I could be wrong, I think in the 80s, we did have political blackness.
You had a who?
Where we had political blackness.
Okay.
And I can't believe this either, so I need to read up myself, where Asian people were also grouped as black.
I can believe it.
I can't believe it.
I can believe because
in the UK we live in right now, I can't.
You have to think about the way that the way that white people view everyone that's not white.
Yeah.
You got to think about that. You understand what I'm saying?
Damn.
You literally have to like conceive that like to a certain group of people, like the way whiteness works is it polices whiteness and purifies anything that isn't white. You understand what I'm saying? So you can be the lightest light of Zayn Malik, but you are not white, and you will not
and
be
viewed as black. No,
right.
I can't. Sorry, guys, I cannot. How can you see Zayn Malik or Zayn Malik and say this is a black brother?
No, but it's happened. I mean, there's like a few Asian people that I know, and they've been called the N-word.
It's wild where it's just like a one-size-fits-all type of insult.
Yeah.
Like. And
my sister's been asked, like when she was a child, another white child came up to her and said, "Are you a P-word?" And I'm like,
I got called a P-word before.
Yes.
And this was because I didn't buy these little boys a pack of cigarettes in the shop.
Oh my God.
What's a P-word?
Oh, sorry, JC, I think you froze.
Oh no, I said what's a P-word, or what's that? What does that mean?
It's a derogatory term for Asian people. It's the equivalent of the N-word for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, in this country, they love that word as well.
Oh my God, they will say that word.
Yeah, they love it.
I want to know what the word is. Can somebody say it, or do I need to Google?
No, it's not a word to say out loud. So even when you find out, don't say it out loud, boy.
Okay.
Yeah. You might want to Google. If you Google it, it'll come up. Come up. Yeah.
I'll do it afterwards. I'm not gonna do it right now.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Don't they say it in America?
We have no racial slurs that begin with P.
Wow.
No bad way. It's just literally just the only P word I can think of is pussy. Like that's so I like. But I'm like I know you won't call an Asian.
Yeah, that's not the word.
Yeah, that's not the word. Like that's not. No, that's the only word we got.
But like, the word is so awful, and it's like you could be from Bangladesh, you could be from Iran, and you'll get called that word.
Yeah.
And it's like, so the word actually comes. Well, I don't know this for sure, but it's in the word Pakistan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So imagine someone from Bangladesh. It's just wrong on so many levels. It's just a bad word. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, moving on to a funner topic. So this happened the last time I was there too, and I didn't pay attention to it, and I was just like, until it was pointed out by me. It was pointed out to me. Excuse me. And okay, so like interracial dating, and I hate that term because there's only one race. So I like to not say that because it lists literally only one race, and I always correct people. Interracial dating, I'm mixed race, and I'm like, oh, so your dad was a lion or something, like a lizard, like.
Yeah, we say the word mixed later.
Yeah.
And that's just a normal word for us.
But it was pointed out to me, it was like, pay attention to how many Black couples you see together, right? And then pay attention to how many mixed couples you see together. And so I did for like 2 days, and I counted on 1.1 hand, maybe 2, the amount of like Black on Black couples that I saw. And I was just like, so is that just me looking for something, or is it like, you know, like how is that like do Black people quote unquote date other Black people there? Because that's what I was told. He was like, I love American television, I love all of these things, and I love going to America because Black people date other Black people there. And I looked at him and I was like, that ain't right. That ain't true. And then, like I said, I walked around London and I paid attention, and I was like, oh, wow.
Can I tell you a secret?
What's that?
The secret is that often Black people do not show public displays of affection when they're together. You might see a Black couple together, but you'll think they're just friends. The way they walk, they don't walk like they're a couple. And also, it might depend on where you are as well. I'm not sure which part of London you were in.
I was central and east.
Central/east. It varies on so many levels. It depends on, you know, what area you're in. But I've found that a lot of Black couples, you might not necessarily just see them hanging out. Just I don't know, in Central, for example, you wouldn't necessarily see that unless it was a particular time of day. But East London, I'm surprised you didn't see many Black couples.
No, I did see Black couples. The most Black couples I saw was when I went south, of course, like Brixton, Peckham, all of those areas down there. But like, you know, just the rest of London, I was like, huh. You know,
I'm in an interracial relationship couple. Right. I hate that word. I hate it so much. But yeah, I see a lot of Black couples. But I think it's also, I don't really know, to be honest, because most of my friends would never even date white men.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, I think all of my Black friends, apart from 2, like, they would never, ever, ever, ever do that. I
don't know why you added so much.
No, because like literally, some of my friends' reactions are like, "Okay, cool, Kushti," but I would never ever do that. I'm like, yeah, do you know what? Whatever, you know.
How did
the best life?
How did you enter into that situation, Vic?
So me and my boyfriend went to college together. We didn't really speak or nothing, and then I went to university, and then he messaged me like randomly. And then we just started talking again. But yeah, it's really strange because my area where I grew up in is so whenever people are like, oh, you have a white boyfriend, they're like, oh, of course, because you grew up in Essex. But I'm like, we didn't actually meet in the way you think we met. Because I was actually at a very predominantly Black university. So, and I didn't date a single guy from my area because no one found me attractive. But yeah, he's just really sweet and really lovely.
There's Black people. There's Black people in Essex. I've never been to Essex.
Yeah.
Whenever the few times I've watched TV, there's that horrible reality show. And
Towie, I'm a bit of The Only Way Is Essex. I love it.
Yeah,
but the thing is, we are, especially like Nigerians, we are not dominating, but we are. Yeah. We're here in Essex. Like, I think
because of gentrification and everything, a lot of people are moving further out of London, and then they're kind of leaning towards Essex. Essex is a bit more affordable, and there's starting to be a bit more of a Black community in Essex as well. So I think it's encouraging more people to move out.
To the point, there's now a word called there's a town called Trafford 100 in Essex, and people call it Traffica. Because there's a lot of
Chafrica, I love it.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean with the racism here. So we have a Tory MP in Trafford, and he went on holiday and made a Facebook post like, "Oh, I miss being in Traffica. I miss that feeling when you're in Traffica." So
Tories are the Conservative Party, no?
Yeah, okay. Conservative Party. Yeah.
Okay.
He was suspended for that. But the term just caught on. Some people say it like that. Oh, God,
I love that. Like, I mean, I love that. It's kind of like, I mean, I don't know if I would like white people saying it, but like
no, black people don't say it. We didn't even know it was a thing until we heard that that's what white people were saying behind closed doors.
Like as a black, I like that. I'm from Africa, you know what I'm saying? It's like, but it could kind of be like, it could kind of be one of those things where like people from Chicago hate when people that aren't from Chicago call Chicago Chirac.
Oh, okay, I got you.
That shit is so, oh my God. Like I lived in Chicago for almost 3 years, and it's like, yo, the Chirac shit, like it's not okay. But people call it the Chirac. So I can get, Africa. I get
But yeah, the interracial dating, what I will say is I have a friend who went to New York, and when I said before, she said that the race relations are different. People were really shocked that she was with a white guy and kind of not looked down on her, but just really, really shocked.
Yes.
Whereas her, no one gives a fuck. When me and my boyfriend or maybe it's because, I know my friend doesn't give a fuck about public opinion. We're both the same in that way. But when me and my boyfriend walk around, nobody's looking at us like, oh my God, literally no one gives a fuck, if I'm honest. Like
it's not really shocking in this country.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think I've ever received anything like people staring.
Well, it's definitely different. As an American, to see a black woman with a white guy. Like, that is super, like, whoa. Like, you'll see a black guy with a white woman. Like, that's always happened. But, like, black woman, white guy, it's different. And I remember hopping off the plane and wherever the hell I was. I think I was in France. And I was just... And it was... Because it's not like the quote-unquote...
I think there's an onus on black women... There's an onus on black women to be the savior, if I'm honest. So... The fact that black women are considered dating outside their race, it's like, oh my God, you are not preserving blackness. You are not, you're not pro-black. You are not helping our cause. And I get it, whatever. But is that same pressure put on black men?
No, absolutely not.
Because when we see, and also there's just so much like politics that goes into it. Where I'm just so like, much. You lot are jumping hoops that I think you shouldn't be jumping. So when Serena Williams got with the dude from Reddit, people are like, oh my God, Serena's tired of black men. I'm like, what if she bumped into the Reddit dude and was like, he's kind of cute.
Right.
He's got money. Right. This is somebody on my level.
Right.
Let's go. Right. It might not have been a thing where she's like, I'm tired of black men. Like, for example, I don't have that view. I don't have a view of black men are below me or white men are better. And I think people who do date outside of race for that reason, I think that's truly flawed, and I think it's really, really wrong. But I think a lot of people have that idea, and it's not that I can't blame people, but I think some people are just like, because I can't do it, I'm trying to figure out why you're doing it.
Yeah.
It was always just like, I remember when y'all were talking about like the white chocolate dude. Fuck him. But like, that's the American in me, sorry. But like, so like, I just remember y'all were having that conversation, and it's like, black girls are like, oh my God, does he like black women? Does he do this, and that? And I'm like, it's just wild to me because it's like, and I understand too, culturally speaking, there is a stark difference in the way that white and black people relate to each other abroad than here. You know what I'm saying? Because like, most black people in general, male or female, straight, gay, whatever, would not date a white person just because of historically how fucked up things have been. But I understand that, you know, like if you're in London and you were Irish in the 40s, y'all were kind of on the same level. So it doesn't really, you know, the mixing is different. Even like going to a council estate, which is explanation. Council estates are kind of like the quote unquote supposed to be projects or whatever.
The projects.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the council estates are mixed, and it all goes by money. It doesn't matter where the fuck you're from.
Yeah, it's class. White, it's black, class.
Asian. Yeah, it's mixed. So everybody grows up and socializes a bit different. So sometimes it is weird to hear like black women talk about white men in like a way that's this is like, you know, I'm just like, y'all really like them. Like that's no offense to, you know, my white.
The thing is, you can like do as you please, but I don't want us black women to be like they are epitome. I don't know what to call it. higher. They
pedestal.
are.
They should be put on a pedestal.
For example, there's this like little white boy, I think he might be 16, and there's black women in his comments being like, oh my God, and where, all this type of stuff. I don't know if people know his age, but people are excited. I'm just like, let's stop doing that. Like, let's not be like, oh my God, does he like black girls? It's like, or
and inviting people to the cookouts and all of that.
Yeah, or he's spicy. It's like, let's, like, for example, there's this show called, what was it called now? The New Normal. No, that's what it's called. Is it called The New Normal?
I don't know.
But I'm asking. Just not normal.
You're asking
people.
the wrong person.
Normal people. Normal people. Jazz, is that what I told you to watch now?
Yeah. Normal.
BBC. And there's a cute guy in it. Yeah. And like, I went on Twitter and like, I saw a few. Obviously not all black people are like this, but a few were like, oh my God, he's spicy for a white guy, all this stuff. And I was like, why are we doing this? Like, it's not, I don't know what it is. I don't know why it's irritating me, but I think we're putting them on a pedestal where it's making them seem like they are better. Mm-hmm. And then it's that rhetoric that they treat us better. And it's just like, no.
Yeah. And that's just not true. Simply not true.
It's not true. That's not true. Like I said, I just don't. It's, to me, it's a little baffling, but I mean, I understand. Like I said, if anything else, I'm a historian first. Before anything else, I love history. So before I try to like go into anything, I like to learn the history behind it and analyze it and think about it from a different perspective than me. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I could never date a white man or woman. Like, that's just not. Just culturally speaking, like, I need the understanding, maybe.
Yeah. And that's absolutely fine. Yeah. And the thing is, you don't have to justify it.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's completely fine.
Mm-hmm. And that's not, and not to down you or anything or any other black woman that dates outside of their skin hue. Because I'm like, all the things that black women go through, far be it for me to tell a black woman not to be happy. Fuck that shit. Like, do what makes you feel great. Like, you understand what I'm saying? I just always, like I said, after he said that to me, he was like, yeah, man. He was like, black people don't date black people here. And I was like, no, like, that doesn't seem really, you know.
I mean, the thing is, when people say that, I'm like, all the weddings I've been to in the past 5 years, I've been black people. Like, black people who have been together. So I'm like, where's this myth that I think it's because we see more mixed couples, so we're like, oh my God, we're dying out. Yeah. And it's like, no, we're not actually. I don't know. But of course, you get cases where people are in relationships because they have self-hate or they want to kind of desire a child. There's a lot of white people.
Oh, you want the pretty mixed baby?
Oh
God, yeah, the pretty mixed baby. I want the pretty mixed baby, and I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, what does that mean?
And also, it's like we don't deep it. That's self-hate on the white side. So what if your child comes out white, looking white? Blonde hair, blue eyes. You're thinking, oh God, this is not what I wanted. What now? What then?
I guess you keep trying till you get, the right one. I don't know. Like,
oh gosh.
You keep stirring the milkshake, like,
So comfortable. I know.
Oh man. Gosh. Oh, it's so bad. Like, it's so, like I said, it's just very, I don't know. It's just very interesting to think about. Like, going.
So what is it like in your area? Would you say that it's predominantly?
I live in Atlanta.
Pardon?
I live in Atlanta.
Oh, you said Atlanta, Jess.
Yeah, I live in Atlanta. It's bliggity black.
Is it a myth that there's a shortage of black men in Atlanta?
So, everybody says that. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
So, okay, Atlanta, very gay city, like very gay positive city. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, like, the thing is, it's like, there are men here, but do they like women? Okay, so that is the running joke of kind of sorts. And I get it. It's kind of funny, but like, it's dating in this city is horrible, whether you're straight or gay. Like, it just, because Atlanta, while being a gay capital, is also the sugar daddy capital of the world. So it's like you have a lot of, if you're straight and you meet a girl, it's kind of like, she wants to be quote unquote taken care of. And I mean, like, if that's your disposition, that's fine. But like, in most people's cases, it's like, well, what are you doing to warrant this kind of care? Like, outside of dressing nice and maybe having sex with me. Like, what do you know what I'm saying? But that's the way that a lot of, a lot of the women here kind of approach dating with. That's the attitude, and it's just kind of, it's a little, You know, and then if you like men, it's kind of like, okay, well, if you're gay in this city, like it's a free for all essentially sometimes. So it's like, well, how do you be in a relationship with people that just want to have sex? So but I love it because when it comes to being in America, there is no city like Atlanta. We are predominant in a lot of ways that just are unnatural in this country. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, so it's like when you hear, like, I hate to say that it's Wakanda, but you kind of get it. Like the amount of Black people that you see on a day-to-day basis is like a lot. Like I can go days without interacting with white people. And that's very weird for being here. Yeah. I can go days without seeing a white person if I want to. And it's like that's not normal for America. You know what I'm saying? And then just like I said, the spectrum. Like I remember one time I was on the train and there was a homeless, probably mentally ill gentleman. And then when I got off the train and I stepped down, there was a Black dude in a Maybach. And so like you literally get to see the spectrum here and you don't get to see that everywhere else. And it's just kind of like, so I guess I love it. It's interesting. But yes, Atlanta's bliggity Black. So it's weird, just very, very Black. Just very Black. So
I'd love to visit. When COVID dies down, because you lot suffering over there with COVID.
Yeah, that I mean, well, y'all right behind. Don't be doing that. Y'all got Boris. Y'all right behind. Don't do that. No,
we're not far behind at all.
We the same.
No, we should be acting like this. Literally, what's you lot's dude? Trump was like, it's not that bad here. And I'm like, why are you lying?
I mean,
why?
I'm convinced he doesn't know how to tell the truth.
They are two sides of the same coin. Yeah. They are exactly the same people.
Absolutely. The same exact people. And I think the only difference in between, the thing that changed Boris's tune was the fact that he got the shit and was in the hospital for like 2 weeks in intensive care. Like, why can't that happen to Trump? Like, why? Why?
And he's old, isn't it? He's old. He's like, how old? He's like 70.
70 or some shit. And it's just like,
wasn't there this whole conspiracy that he actually had it and he was pretending that he was fine? Wasn't that a thing as well?
We could be so lucky. Like it's
the conspiracy that Boris never actually had it.
Really?
Yeah, the conspiracy that he just wanted to get out of work.
Yeah.
That sounds like something Trump would do. It really does. But the thing is, if he left power, then the VP would take power, and I don't think that he's comfortable.
Yeah, Trump has too much ego. I think he has too much ego to let someone else take charge. Mm-hmm. No way.
Have y'all ever been to the States?
Yeah. 2009, I went to Texas. I have family in Texas, and I've been to Miami. Sorry, actually, in 2018.
How the hell did they get to Texas?
I went to Texas as well. They're Nigerians there.
They were from New York as well, and they just decided to move to Texas. I think they wanted bigger houses.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah, my uncle moved from Nigeria to Texas. I went when I was really small, but I used to live in a council flat in East London. So when we went to Texas, it was literally the most shocking experience I've ever had in my life. Because I felt like a hobbit when I got home.
What does that mean?
You know when hobbits, like I can't even explain it. Yeah.
You know, because the British houses are so small.
Yeah. Okay.
So
and it's just, so we were like 6 people sharing a 2-bed flat. Mm-hmm. When we went to America, my uncle's house, they had like 7 bedrooms. Oh. They had like a playroom. You know, in America, you not just have space for space's sake.
Your uncle got money.
Yeah, but it was when I understood that you guys had a pantry.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
And you know they have garages as well, and they fill their garage with fridges and freezers to put more food. And I'm like, you guys have space. We could only dream of having that much space.
Oh my God. It was like, I felt like I was in Buckingham Palace when I was at my uncle's house. And then the craziest thing is, now I'm older, I watch these tours on YouTube. It's like, house tour. And I'm like, this is literally my uncle's house, but it's very normal. Mm-hmm. Like, these are very normal houses. Yeah. Everyone drives a truck, and I'm like, wow, this is so insane.
Yeah. It's Texas is I hate Texas. Let me just say that, but I just do. Anybody that knows me knows that I have a strong hatred of Texas. Like the racism is just different there.
Oh,
like
wow.
it's just palpable.
Wow.
Like it's just strong. And
It does give me what's that cowboy kind of redneck vibes.
Yes.
Yeah, when I was there, I think they were driving us through to Houston, because they live kind of in the suburbs, I guess, of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just like, you never ever want to stop your car in this area. That's what they said. They said,
oh my God.
You know, like
just
Lovecraft Country, sundown towns, that's a real thing. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as it used to be, but yes, that is a real thing that actually happened. I remember my grandparents talking about it. Like that is a thing. Like, yeah. So like that's very true.
Terrifying.
It's very true. And then like Houston is a very black city too. So it's like, Houston isn't that bad. But then going outside of Houston, it's like, like Houston is to Texas what like London is to the UK. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're okay inside this circle, but goddamn it, don't you stray too far. Do not go too far out of the gate because you might encounter some things. Yeah, no. So fuck Texas. I really mean it. But like, I'm happy y'all had good times. But like, yeah, no, Texas is bad. Wait, so the other thing that really caught my attention was Vic when you shared your story, about like suicide and then just like. Or suicidal ideation, let me say that. And then just both of you ladies, like handling of the topic of like mental health. And so like, I have to know, like, I know it's pretty much the same for Black people in general. Don't matter what country or continent you came from, but like, what's the attitude around like mental health there? And then especially like with your families, like what do they listen to your pods? Like, do they, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, have you had the awkward, family get-togethers or like?
I would just say that over here, there is definitely a suspicion of medicine is what I would say. So when it comes to taking antidepressants, there's the whole, you're going to get addicted. You don't want to be taking those synthetic ingredients, blah, 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 blah. So there is a distrust of medicine, I would say, in the Black community over here. I mean, for good reason.
Right.
We were experimented on, without our permission in the past. So I get the history behind it. That hasn't, so it's hard to kind of come out of that, I would say. Regarding us as individuals, I would say for myself, I think my family have listened to the podcast and they're a bit shocked. They're like, oh, I can't believe you were going through this. I had spoken at the time when I was diagnosed. I did speak to my mom and, immediate family. I spoke to them about it. They were very understanding, but again, it was the kind of thing of, do not get hooked on these antidepressants. Okay. That's what it was. And, you just need to exercise more. You just need to do this. And don't get me wrong, exercise, it does help. But if there's a chemical imbalance in your brain, it takes, sometimes you do need help. You do need extra help and you do need someone to talk to. Me, myself, I haven't yet gone to therapy. And I think there is a bit of me that is just thinking, I am scared. I'm scared of therapy. I'm scared of bearing my soul for someone else in that way. But I also know that I need it as well. I think I'm coming to the point where I know that I definitely need it. And it's just about, well, in this country, I don't know how it works in America, but here, therapy is definitely a luxury. It's not something you can get it covered on the NHS, but you're going to be waiting 2-3 years before you get it. So you do have to pay privately to get therapy immediately. And it can be expensive. So it is very, I guess it excludes a lot of people that need help in this country.
Like, I always thought that the NHS, I know you guys have healthcare. Like, you just, something happens, you walk into the clinic, and you walk out. That's pretty much, and I feel like that's how it should be. But I always thought that, that would be covered under that. Well, and then, isn't Boris, trying to defund the NHS or something like that? Like, what?
He'll tell you that he's not, but I guess that's to be debated. And lots of things aren't really covered by the NHS. So for example, dental care, that's only covered until you're 18. Glasses, even if you want to get glasses, you can only get covered if you're earning a certain wage. So if you're earning over a certain amount, you can't get help. And if you do get help, you can only get the cheapest glasses possible.
Okay.
So there's lots of criteria. And with mental health services, they are being cut. So there might have been more support in the community before, but now it's kind of stripped down. Whereas before, people might have been able to, even if you're talking about getting sectioned, they might have been sectioned for, I don't know, let's say 6 months. Now they might only be able to afford to be sectioned for a month, for example. There's lots of different things that are happening.
Section is
regarding counselling.
Section is, what does that mean? Section? Like,
that means if you're taken under, I guess, state care. I don't know what the equivalent will be for you, but it's literally someone saying, we're scared that you're a danger to yourself or someone else.
Okay,
So we're going to take you into our care.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so even with that, those services are under pressure at the moment. So regarding therapy, correct me if I'm wrong, Vic, but I think you only get a certain amount on the NHS. So you might get 10 or 12 sessions for free on the NHS, which you might have to wait 2 or 3, maybe even more years to receive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, my parents don't listen to the podcast. I don't even know if I think I have one. I just want to keep it that way.
Would you prefer to keep it that way?
Yeah. My brother's listening, so sometimes they'll message me like, "Oh my God, I didn't know you were going through that." And I think because I'm the oldest child, I don't really want to put burden on others. Because you're just like, I need to kind of be quote unquote strong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the oldest girl in the Nigerian household. But yeah, I think with mental health, I think the conversation, there's still a lot of stigma, and I think when you speak about it and when you open about it, I think people kind of stereotype you and are like, you're a mental health advocate, or you know all things mental health, and it's like, no, it's literally just like you, but weirdly, for some strange reason, talking about it publicly. I think I've had like a few weird reactions to be on a meds, and people being like, it just makes them go awkward.
Mm-hmm.
And then it makes me feel awkward because I'm like, I should just lied and said I was taking birth control or something. Because people treat you differently. I'm like, oh, yes, get it, sis, yes. But it's like, when it's like taking care of your mental health, it's kind of like, oh, that's okay.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still awkward, but I think, if I'm honest, I think the podcast is really the only outlet where I talk about it transparently. That and with my boyfriend and like some family members and close friends, but not really, because I've just had too many instances where I've had it thrown in my face, especially at work with certain friends. And I'm just like, I don't want to experience that. So the podcast is kind of like, for me, like a safe place where I feel like I can talk about this without really being judged, because I know the people who are tuning in want to hear these stories. They're not just like randoms sort of thing.
Right.
Like you see what it says on the description. So if you're shocked by it, then
Right.
I don't know to be honest. Yeah.
And so, like, Jas, you have a daughter, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, she's 7.
How do you approach, like, mental health with your kid? Like, how does that?
I think now she's a bit older. She probably is a bit more aware of when my mood has kind of changed.
Mm-hmm.
But I've just explained it that, sometimes as an adult, you'll get periods where you just feel sad. And, she's asked me, like, what is it that's making you feel sad? And I said, there's not always a reason, but this is how I can feel. So I don't really go into details. I don't want to put any burden or pressure on her. And I do experience guilt as well. Like, sometimes when I just feel like I don't want to get out of bed, or I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. So even when it comes to like my social anxiety, so it used to mean that before I didn't really like go into certain places, and they would be the places that she would enjoy. So I feel guilty that I don't want to go because I'm feeling anxious. But I think there's ways around it. I mean, if you can get a family member to take her out, like there's different ways to go around it. But I do also feel a bit like, oh, am I letting her down? So yeah, that is definitely difficult to deal with. But I think you just have to do what you can, and definitely don't be afraid to reach out to family members and friends, because they shouldn't judge you.
And you're not letting her down.
Oh, thank you, Vic.
Yeah, I don't. You don't seem like a bad or neglected mom. Like I don't get that sense. I mean, like you're human, and like that's one of the that's one of the things that like I had to come to terms with, is that our parents were people first. And then they had like whole ass lives before they had us. Right. And so it's like, depending on what kid you're on, you kind of learning on the fly. Like there's not really an instruction manual to this thing. And, so you have to figure out how to integrate another human into your life. And then, you have to figure out how to care for that human. And just like, I'm not a parent. Thank God I don't want them. But like, I'm just like, it's always, like, I'm sorry. Like, I love everybody. I love everyone that loves their kids. I love them so much.
We'll have this conversation in 10 years.
Yeah, okay.
It's not. I can see it. Is that no?
No, I'm good. Give up all that money and freedom? No, I'm good. But like... I'm selfish. I don't see it changing. But like, yeah, it's just always like, parents are people. Like, I'm saying, your parents are people. So you just do the best that you can. Like even some things with my mom, I realized like, single mom doing stuff, providing for a kid, like she was tired. Like it wasn't that she didn't want to go anywhere. It was like, yo, I just worked 12 hours. I really kind of need to sleep, so I can do this again. So I don't feel like you should beat yourself up for that. I mean, like you seem like a good parent. Like, and I've only known you for an hour and 23 minutes, but I'm just saying, like, you don't seem like a bad person.
Oh, thank you. I mean, how is it in the States? I mean, how is it covered? I mean, healthcare wise, and also what's the general attitude towards mental health over there?
So we don't have universal healthcare. Scratch that. We do have universal health. No, say what I said. We don't have universal healthcare. Obama put into place the Affordable Care Act, which was known as Obamacare. It covers something like 25 million Americans, I think. And it was supposed to cover more. However, our conservative party decided that, fuck that. Because socialism and communists and everything is communism. He's a communist. He's a socialist. He's that. It's like, are we really taken from the 1930s playbook again? But so mainly it's like your health care is dependent upon the job that you have. And you can see how, especially if something like a pandemic, when nobody can go to work, and if you're not working or you don't have a quote unquote good job, you don't have adequate healthcare, you can see how this might be a problem. And so that's what a lot of Americans, I think the general consensus over universal healthcare, has changed for the better because of this. But in general, like, we don't have, I have good healthcare. I also have a good job, but if I didn't, there's no. And then like, if you're younger or older, you have Medicaid or Medicare. And that is kind of substantial, but until you reach the age of 65, you're kind of on your own. So, you know what I'm saying? And once after you're 18, from 18 to 65, you got to figure it out. And that's just not, it's not, and then mental health, okay, so wait, let me say this. Mental health in the white community has always been a thing. All right. But mental health in the Black community or colored people's community in general has always been kind of like, shaky, because it's kind of looked at as wishy-washy. Like when we think about even the medical practices, like Carl Jung, all of them motherfuckers was racist, like super racist. So it's like, you have these theories and doctrines created by, white people that didn't even really believe that Black people or Asian people or whomever were even capable of those type of emotions. So I could understand it being like a kind of like a standoffish way with that. But as of late, you have more Black celebrities coming out and, or just Black people in general and recognizing that, okay, mental health is real and it is a thing that, you need to take seriously. Like even me, myself personally, I've seen a therapist once. I kind of got what I needed out of it. So I never went back. I'm pretty good at working through my problems, but even during COVID, I'm like, I had a brief moment where I was like, I just realized like this is what depression feels like. And I've never felt this way before. Like, okay, this is what this feels like. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of had to like take a step back, walk my way out of it and, come back better. I still might fall into a mild case of depression every once in a while, but it's just like, even me is just kind of like, oh, this is what this is? Like this sucks. Like this really fucking sucks. Like, goddamn. It's just like a level of empathy. Like when I hear people talk, like when I hear you guys talk about it, it's like, just like being able to kind of understand what you're saying now. Like I don't understand it completely, but I do have some semblance of like, kind of like, oh, okay, this is what this feels like. And we need to pay attention to this and bring it to the forefront and just be better about it. But that's the general overall healthcare and mental health kid noodle caboodle in like a couple minutes. Like we ain't got none and we learning about it. So there you go.
No, the thing is, depression, mental health even, it's going to look different for everyone. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's general symptoms for depression that I think a lot of people can relate to, but how it looks like in the day-to-day, the everyday, going to be different for a lot of people. And I think definitely coronavirus is just, I'm sure mental health has, been a topic on everyone's plate. Right. It's been on everyone's plate. Right. For good and bad reasons. I mean, some people are flourishing during lockdown and they're dealing with guilt because they're flourishing. Yeah. So, a lot of people are dealing with things in different ways. So, I mean, it's hard. It's hard. And I can't imagine what it's like being in a place where you can't even afford, healthcare to deal with it. Like, I can't imagine what I'd be like if I didn't have access to antidepressants. I mean, it doesn't even bear thinking about, really.
And then, Vic, I got a question for you. Like, your job is like, you're on. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, your job is to be on. Your job is to be involved in things. So, like, do you think you would ever, like, if you had the choice, would you have switched up career paths? Or, like, would you ever leave? Or are you kind of, like, happy? You kind of have found a way to deal?
Yeah, 100%. Like, if I could go back to...
Oh, wait, let me interrupt. Sorry. By the way, Vic is like a real pop-in journalist, media person. She's done a whole bunch of shit for like a whole bunch of things that you care about, that you didn't know, that you might not have known. So like when I say she's on and she's lit, like she's lit. So like, okay.
I thought you meant like I'm on. I thought when you said on, I thought you meant like I'm online 24/7. This is what okay. Yeah, well, I mean, if I'm going to be completely honest, if I was 15, because when I was 15, basically, when we talk about institutionalized racism, it goes back to grades. It goes back to how you're treated in school. I said this on a podcast a lot of times. I went through a whole year really about giving in my books, like to be marked, because I just like had an insecurity with my writing. And that's weird because how could a child get away with that?
Right.
It's because you're invisible. But I was always told that I wasn't going to be able to be capable of reaching such grades. But if I could go back, I worked really hard and work in finance or accounting.
I think I'll choose a STEM subject as well.
100%.
Yeah.
110%. Like, because, but then I say that, and then are these people clocking off at 6 as well, 5? Or are they clocking off at 8? But I just feel like the difference with working in journalism and in the media you have to watch things all of the time. You have to be online all the time. And then when you want escapism, which is going on online, you were seeing things that are work related.
Yes.
I think it was the worst when I worked at BuzzFeed, I think. Even though that was like literally such a fun job, but I couldn't engage with Twitter the same, because every tweet I was like, oh, this is a viral tweet that I can reach out to them and do a massive post on it. My editor, honestly, my editor, who was so lovely, was like, would DM me at like 9 o'clock. Vic, this is a cool story. And I'm like, and I would be excited as well, but not looking back thinking, when are we switching off?
Right.
And literally watching TV and being like, you know, even like the way I watch Love Island.
Sorry, Bella's in her cat.
Yeah. Like even the way I watch TV, like I'm always constantly tweeting, and like sometimes I will have to do a live feed for work or do social commentary for work, and it's like I can't really enjoy the TV show that I want to enjoy. And it's just when you work in media, it does feel hard to switch off. I can't lie. And then when you do switch off, you feel like, oh my god, I'm missing out on things. I'm missing out on potential gigs, especially as a freelancer. That's such a hard thing. But now I'm just like, F it. Like if it goes away, then it goes away. I'm not gonna die. Like, it's actually okay.
Some things can wait, really. And I know it's hard for Vic to switch off as well. Bless her. She's so hardworking.
But the thing is, am I hardworking, or am I not fast working? Because I'm not doing it quick enough. I'm working, but it's not quick enough.
But no, you can't really do that, because it's like when y'all had the therapist lady. Like, dude, like, what did she say? Like, we make more decisions in a day than people did their entire fucking lives. Like, you can't really, like, I struggle with that too. Like, I am not working hard enough, and sometimes I'm not. I'll be honest, I fuck off. But like, I realized, I'm just being honest, but I realized like there was a time during peak quarantine where like I was at this computer every day for 12 hours and I burnt out, and I couldn't physically do anything else because my mind was like, hey, we don't want to do this anymore. Figure it out. Go play a game, like, you know, and I literally couldn't bring myself to do anything. So I don't think it's about like, I don't think it's about your work ethic. It's literally like, when do you disconnect? Like I make it a point to not have my phone on me all the time. I make it a point to batch my tasks that I have to do for online and leave it at that. Like I will literally leave my phone in the other room charging because I just don't, I'm not attached to it. I remember when we didn't have these things. I remember when you had dial-up. I remember, look, You've Got Mail, all of that shit. Like I remember MySpace. I remember Facebook when it was like, you know, actual, like not anything that was supposed to be now. So it's just, like, no, I can't. But don't, no, it's just, you have to.
It's just, I just want that clear divide. Like, because even when I'm just scrolling on Instagram, I'm just like, oh my God, I could do a really big piece on this. And it's like, that's okay that I have those thoughts, but then sometimes I will dive deep, or I will take work. I say take it home with me, but like, there was a week where I would do work until like, I don't even want to say the time I would stay up until doing work, but like I'll stay up until a stupid amount of time doing work. And then I wake up the next morning and I'm like, I'm literally working to live, or I'm living to work. Sorry. Right. And it's like, this is disgusting. This is not me. Like I'm very much a person like, enjoy your free time. You are allowed to. And it took me a while because I felt very guilty. I started watching Friends again. Well, I say watching Friends again, but watching Friends for the first time.
You should feel guilty about watching Friends.
Huh?
You should feel guilty about watching Friends. It's called Living Single. It's called Living Single. You binge that. I don't. Living Single.
Okay,
Living Single
that's actually on my list.
Yeah,
that's
Living Single was.
I'm watching Sister now.
Living Singles was what Friends was based off of, and it came first. So like, watch Living Single. You'll like that better.
No. We know the tea. It's on my list. We know they appropriated it, but yeah, you feel guilty. But like, I'm just like, I can't feel guilty. Like if someone wants to think that I'm slacking off, then they can think I'm slacking off. Like that's what it comes down to. But what I've realized is it's not even just a journalism thing. A lot of people are feeling guilty stopping work at 5:30 in lockdown. Yeah. Because they feel like I'm at the laptop, I might as well keep going. Right. And the thing is, there's some capitalist driven companies where they're just like, this is fantastic. Yeah. Work them to the bone. Right. But luckily, I currently have a freelance job where they're really lovely and they message me at 5 and they're like, why are you online?
Really?
Yeah. They're like, why are you online?
Wow.
You should log off. Which is really great because some places, especially, and as I say about the UK with politeness, if we were, like, let's say this is like not Corona and we're in an office, it would be rude to leave at 5 if you finish at 5.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get this in America, but it would be rude. Not like if you're clocking out at 5, like a shop, a retail job, but like an office job. It would be very rude for you to clock out at 5 on the dot because it shows that you don't like the people that you work with, or that you don't want to be associated with them outside of work. You don't want to go to the pub with them. And I know you're looking at us like, what the hell are you talking about?
We ain't got that. We ain't got that. But culturally speaking, you guys' culture is a way more communal than Americans are. Americans are very like kind of like selfish people. Like we're very into ourselves. So it's like, you know, me clocking out at 5 is me leaving at 5. But it's not to say that some people don't, you know, I guess you experience maybe the peer pressure or whatever to hang out or whatever. But I've always been weird. No is my favorite word. It's been since I was a very small child. I don't have a problem leaving or saying I don't want to go. I don't want to do anything and not giving a fuck how you feel. Because at the end of the day, you know, my energy is what I'm worried about. So if I don't want to hang out, then I'm not. Why don't you want to go out? Because I don't. See you later. Like that.
Literally, in the UK, like I've been told once by a boss, if you don't have a child, then what is your reason? So, like it's just so it's gross.
What did they do after they got up off the floor? You ain't hit him? Okay, that's black rule number 1. Don't fuck up your good job. You right. You can't do that. But
It was extremely cheeky of them.
Wow, if you don't have a kid, I'd have been like, excuse me? I'm sorry. Like, where's HR? Let's have a walk. Let's have a walk.
The HR, like what in the UK, it's like completely different. Not in all cases, but in some cases, the HR working alongside with the company. They're doing what's best in the company's interests.
Yeah, in most cases, yeah, that is right. It's just like, that's wild to me, though. Like, I don't. But what was your response?
I looked at her, and I was like, "Well, I guess we're going to the pub."
Oh, you relented? No,
I had no choice. But luckily, I begged this other black woman who was there, and I was like, "Please come with me." And she was just like, "I hate going to the pub. Okay. Hate it." Okay. But she came for me, and I was just so appreciative. But she left 10 minutes into it.
Absolutely, I did what I said.
They said that she was rude. They were like, "Oh bloody hell, she doesn't like us. Why can't she go back home?"
Why? But I guess the question is like, why does it matter? I'm always the type of person like, unless it's my company, unless it is the OVT network, my baby. I don't care if you like me. I'm not paid to like you. I'm paid to do my job. That's all. You know what I'm saying? I don't.
But it's very
in the UK, they're very. They try to treat work as though it's like a family.
Okay.
And Vic's mentioned this before, but especially in London, a lot of people travel from outside of London into London to work.
Okay.
So when they get there, they're alone. So they rely on their colleagues to kind of be their social friends as well. So there's a lot of people that are relying on their colleagues for entertainment, really. So if you want to go straight away, then they're like, "Oh, you're leaving me alone."
I have heard that it's like, I've heard that London can be like a very lonely place, and I'm just like,
then get Bumble. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Call me a cow, but it's not my problem to fix that one. Whoa, no, sorry, it's my problem to fix that one. You got housemates. I remember I had a colleague. We had a gas leak in the office. So we had to work from home, and he was livid. He was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this. I'm so upset." I was like, "There's a gas leak.
You might die if you come inside."
He was just like, "I'm so pissed off. I really want to be in the office." I was like,
"So go to WeWork." I don't know. Like, what the fuck?
He did. Like, when all of us were working from home, he went to like a office place with a bunch of other colleagues near the office. I was like, it can never and it will never be that deep for me. I'm so sorry. Call me someone that doesn't love work or whatnot. That's just not me. And I wish it was, because I feel like you progress more when you are that.
It's extreme extroversion. Like, and I'm not that. Like, I'm extroverted for work purposes. But I definitely turn that shit off. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I used to hate and still actually don't like going to like mixers and meet and greets. Like, I have to mentally prepare myself to talk to people because I don't like to talk. That was really funny when y'all were talking about who was in the pharmacy and didn't want to talk to their classmate. Who was that?
It was me.
That was you? Who? Jas or Vic?
It was me.
Okay, yeah. No, we here because I am the king of like being super low key and like avoidant. And I realized I was like, for a second, when we talk about this mental health conversation, I was like, wait, do I have anxiety of people? Right. And so I really had to weigh that. And I remember that was one of the things I talked about when I went to the therapist that one time. And he was like, it sounds to me that you just really don't like talking to people. And that's fine. You know, and he's like, there are celebrities, Michael Jackson, Beyonce, Prince. Like, these are examples of celebrities that don't necessarily, you know, they give you a thing, they give you what you want, but then they retreat because that's what they want and that's what they need. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing wrong with not wanting to talk to people. Because I was like, okay, for a second, I thought I was just like a horrible person a little bit because it's like, I don't want to talk to you. Like, I've seen you all day. Like, when you were like, you're on the tube and y'all are like, tube is the train, guys. Tube is the train. And so, like, you're on the tube and, like, you know, you see people that you know and you sit in silence. Absolutely. Because I don't want to talk to you. I am decompressing. I'm intaking my day and exhaling my day. I want to listen to my podcast. I want to listen to my music. I want to do anything except talk to you about my day. Like, that's what I don't want to do. Like, there's a time and a place and a space for that. So, like, extroversion versus introversion, because I feel like extroverts will talk to people at all times. Like, it doesn't matter. And they enjoy it.
But then I feel like, I wonder if there's some extroverts who are like, I'm so pissed off. Like, I'm tired after this full-on day, and now I've got to sit on this train. But do they just continue performing? Because with me, I feel like when I'm in some of those situations, I do perform. But when I get home, I'm like, oh, I just lay in my bed. I'm like, oh my God, that was exhausting.
I think it depends on the person. Like, my roommate is that way. Like, he's very much an extrovert, but he hates talking to people at his job. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
But he loves going out and drinking and smoking and partying and stuff like that. But he absolutely does not like to have long conversations at work. And that's environmental. That's like, okay, well, I don't necessarily like my job, but I got to be here and they pay me well. So, and I got great benefits. So, yeah, you know, I mean, I do with what I want. Like, the environment will change. Your environment will change your interactions with people. Absolutely. 100%. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's both. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm horrible at doing things I don't want to do. So, like, if I don't want to talk to you and you continue to talk to me, you'll know that I don't want to talk to you. And you'll stop talking to me. Because I'm like, you know, or I'll just simply excuse myself and be like, hey, don't mean to be rude. I don't want to do this right now. Let me catch you later. You know what I'm saying?
I'm often that person everybody wants to talk to.
Don't you hate it?
But they don't like me. I think it's because they know that I will respond.
Yeah.
Especially at work. They're like at a job I worked, people will talk and be ignored. But if you talk to me, because I don't like ignoring people, they're like, oh, Vicky will respond. So let me tell all her problems. And the thing is, sometimes they don't even like to hear my response. Sometimes they even ignore what I'm saying. They're just talking. They're just like, I just need to talk to somebody.
Right.
And I'm thinking in my head, if only you knew that I don't want to talk to you.
That's so selfish. I think you got to get better at telling people, like, no. Hey, Vic, can I talk to you for a second? No, not right now.
At work? Nah, not in the UK.
And just literally say it with a straight face. Like, can I talk? No, not right now.
Do you know what happened in the UK?
What?
Oh, gosh, Vic ain't feeling well today.
Yeah.
That's fine. Leave me the fuck alone. I got corona. Let me quarantine. Go over there.
Oh, no.
Over there.
Trust me, in the UK, because I remember one time at work, I couldn't put on a face. That day, I had so many messages on Slack. you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you all right? Like, what's going on? Vic, let's go for a walk. I'm like, I just can't be asked to be fake today.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
You train people how to treat you though. So it's like,
Yeah,
I mean, like,
that's true.
on the one thing, if you're always happy and smiley and the people are expecting you to be always happy and smiley, when you're not happy and smiley, it's like, oh wait, what's wrong? I mean, like,
what's wrong? That's true.
And so it's a double-edged sword. I still say reserve your peace and tell people, fuck no, I ain't got time for this shit today. Can I talk to you, Vic? No.
Yeah.
No.
In this UK.
She's like, but I can't do this.
In fact, I have to talk to you now. I will pull up a seat. I'm like, what's wrong? Tell me. And like, but that's it. That's how we cope in these spaces by. And the thing is, you do make friends, but you have to. I don't know, like Jas.
Almost like conforming, yeah.
Yeah, you have to be like overly friendly, like make them feel like. And this sounds awful, but like make them feel like you are. I think you want to say the good black. That's not the word.
That's what I was about to say. Like, is that like a black thing though, or is that like you have it doubly because you're a woman and because you're black and you're single solitary in the space? Okay.
The thing is, being a black woman in the UK, I rarely think about being a woman. I think about being black first most of the time. And in these spaces, I'm just like, in these spaces at work, I'm just like, I need them to know that I'm one of them, if that that they believe that I'm in this, that I fucks with this sort of thing. So I need to kind of work extra hard to show them that I too like to go to the pub. I too watch Derry Girls, even though I've never seen that in my life. Or I too love Jamila Jamil. But I just need to have the common interest with them that I don't really have. And I know it sounds fake, but working in the media, this is what you got to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So sad.
Absolutely.
So sad.
Absolutely. That I get.
By the way, I'm so sorry, guys, but I've got to go in like 5 minutes, if that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
Sorry for cutting it short.
Oh man, I got like.
I'm sorry.
Let's get to the fun part. Okay. All right, we'll cut it short. I know you got like kids. Wait, what time is it? Over there?
It's 8 o'clock.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's only 3 here. That's my day still. That's why I was like, wait, how late? Because I realized it was dark. Like I was like,
it's a school night as well.
Oh crap! Okay, so we'll like do a part 2 of this. I think.
Yeah, sure thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I will. Oh wait, okay. I got one quick question before we leave. So like,
yeah, for sure.
When did you guys know that your show was a thing?
Whoa, what question?
Oh. I would like to say it was when we won that award, but I don't even think it was then.
Congrats,
because we were shocked.
Congrats.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Perhaps the start of this year, whenever we put out an episode, we would have people immediately listen on SoundCloud, and people would comment on Twitter with their thoughts during the week. Because like, you think about the stuff that you engage with and stuff that you like, and it's very rare for, I don't know, so, like, I watch and consume a lot of content, and for me to go out my way to tweet about it, that means I really like it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I do this anyway, because that's my personality trait.
Right.
But a lot of my friends don't really do that. So the fact that I see people do that for our podcast, I'm like, wow, that means that we have a really good thing going and people really relate to it. I think that's what it is for me, is when I see the comments and I see the messages and the tweets, I'm like, wow.
And I think as well, Spotify sent us a breakdown at the end of the year. You know when they do the roundup?
Yeah.
And they sent us all the statistics for the year of, how many people are listening from how many different countries. And how many countries was it? Like 50 different countries.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
It was something crazy. And we were just like, oh my gosh, like we didn't even realize it was spreading that far wide, if you know what I mean.
Oh, wow.
And that's when we were just like, oh my gosh, we're really doing something here.
Oh, congrats. My little 14 countries that I'm in. I mean, like, you ain't got to flex like that.
That's not little. That's not, I've only been to America in my life. Exactly. That's amazing.
Oh, man. That's like, no, that's dope. Like, I just really wanted to know that, though, because I'm like, I know it's been going for a little while now. Like, so I was like, when did the shift occur?
When did you know?
I don't think mine is still a hit yet. I think it's getting there. But and then especially because I had to take like a little break in between just because of like protests and involvement and filming and independent journalism and all those things. But I think it honestly is getting there. And I think I really do. I think it's honestly getting there. And it's just like, I think I'm unique in the way that I'm not necessarily a celebrity, and I'm not even celebrity adjacent, but I'm a very connected person. And I know a lot of people. So I think it doesn't do exactly what I wanted to do, but it definitely touches people and it allows me to maybe supersede a level that I might need to in a progressive way. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just like, it just every little bit counts, I think, Every little bit counts.
Definitely. And I think as well for us, it's a bit different. Like our definition of a hit in the UK is different to a hit in...
Oh, definitely. Because when you called us a hit, but then I have this imposter syndrome. So when you said a hit, a part of me was like, correct him and tell him we're not. But then I was like, claim that.
Exactly. Yeah. Receive it, goddammit. Receive it. Like, no.
No, but Jas is right. Like, in the UK, people would be like, no, you're not, because you're not XYZ doing bang, bang, and a boogie. But what is a hit? Who describes a hit? And who standards?
Determines that, yeah.
Even in that, oh, we're about to do this thing again. You gotta go. But even in that, it's like, I love the way that you all consume content. It's so very thoughtful and not superficial. And that's the thing with being in America, is that we're so go. Like, we don't take the time to truly appreciate things. You understand what I'm saying?
You reckon?
Take the time to, I know.
We're so superficial.
Yeah, we are big time.
Y'all still read the paper. And everybody has phones.
They're dying.
Yeah, they're dying now.
It doesn't matter. I'll go on the tube right now and see like the fucking Standard or some shit, and I can just sit down and read it. Like, there's billboards.
No, the newspapers on the trains is because they're free and people don't want to look at each other's faces.
But still, even then, like, you couldn't give away a free newspaper in America and expect the motherfucker to read it. Like, no. Like, you're gonna be like, what do I want to read a newspaper for? I have a phone. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, just the ways in which you guys imbibe, like I said, culture and content is so different. And that's what I love about, you know what I'm saying, like British culture and Black British culture especially, because I just love Black people. But like, you know what I'm saying, like just in general, like you guys just take the content and you like really sit with it and you interact with it in a way that is not American. That's the only way
it's so funny you say this, because us as Black Brits have this conversation all of the time that Black Americans push their content creators and support them and go ham. Whereas in the UK, we have this attitude of, that person bangs, but I can't tell them.
Yeah.
I might listen to their content, I might listen to their music, but I can't tell them. I can't tell them because then it's
I've heard this.
I'm a beg.
I've heard this.
Yeah. Exactly.
I've heard this.
We have that in the UK. Like, we're slowly drifting away from it, but we really do have that. We don't even know who listens to our podcast. There's really a lot of people in higher places that listen to our podcast, but we'll probably never know. Because, like, for example, me and Jas might be in a setting where we're in an event and we bump into someone in a high place and like, oh, I listened to your podcast, and you're like, right, you never tweet about it. Yeah. But that's because in the UK it's just not really a thing. But then at the same time, there's a lot of content I listen to and fucks with that I don't often tweet about. So sometimes people are busy. I don't know. I don't really know what it is.
My friend said that too, because he wanted to start a podcast, and he's like, actually, like, he was like maybe the 5th or 6th episode, and he was like, I think it's so cool. Like, Americans, you guys just really do shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, over here, we like gotta think about it, and then you kind of like, you go backwards and forwards with it, and then you're like, nah, I can't do this, and you're like, well, what is this? And like all of these steps that he was saying.
Like, how am I gonna look? Like, so for example, even Black women doing, sorry to cut you, even Black women doing YouTube videos. There's too many Black women on YouTube in America. There's bears of you lot, like you lot are doing the damn thing. But in here, it's like, there can only be too many. Even podcasts, I'm hearing people saying there's too many Black podcasts in the UK. And at the start of this conversation, you just told us.
It's literally like 10 to 15. Like, what are you saying? Like, all of the Black people in the UK, like, what do you mean? Like, it's too many? Like, no, fuck out of here. Like, what do you mean? Like, I love it. Like, to me, like I said, just, I know content cycles, and I just know how white UK media is. So I think it's like a beautiful thing that you guys are like starting to create your own. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, I love it. It's beautiful. I love it. Like, I'm always happy for Black people winning. But okay, bye, Jazz. She like, yeah. All right, bet. Okay, cool. Can we leave? We done? I got homework. Nigga, I got homework.
I bet. I'm like Quavo. I'm like, wrap it up there.
She said, I told these niggas I have homework. Let's go. No. But all right, thank y'all for like I said.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. It's been so fun.
Honestly,
time went really quickly. Yeah,
I feel when you come down.
Wait, both of y'all did that thing and then we're on a latent connection. What did you say and what did you say?
I said holler when you come London.
Yeah, I said the same thing at the same time.
Okay. I'm looking forward to like meeting all the people that I've not officially met yet. So this is gonna be real cool the next time I come back. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll come.
Later.
Yeah.
Bye now. Thank you so much.
Bye.
See you later, bye.
Thank you.
That's it, guys. Thanks for listening. You can follow us on the Instagrams at the OVT Network. And you can follow me, JC, at JC from the OVT. Very simple, right? This podcast is available on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, and pretty much everywhere in between. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, and rate us 5 stars if you were so inclined. Thank you. Quarantine Talks is a podcast that is also available on YouTube. Just type in the OVT Network and hit subscribe for all of the latest and greatest from we at the OVT. Lastly, we are an independent and Black-owned media network, guys, so if you enjoyed the content and you would like to drop a donation, you may do so on Cash App or the Venmo at the OVT Network, all one word, the OVT Network. Quarantine Talks is edited and produced by me, JC, with original music produced by Brian Haddon. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Stay safe, stay creative, and most importantly, stay sane. Find your peace, man. It's crazy out here. Laters.